Hi, my name is Jennifer Chomos.
I'm Zach Ladonis.
Mark Bland.
Marissa McCabe.
And this morning we're talking about how the university has always been a place for students to learn, and PSU is no exception. There are many venues for students to learn. These include small classes, recitations, labs, and large lectures. Recently, students have begun to complain about classroom learning experience is comprised by various distractions created by rude students. The complaints include the noise from talking during class, cell phones ringing, and students entering and exiting the classroom late and early. Students say that the distractions create situations in which they cannot hear or concentrate on their instructor, and that their comprehension of the class material decreases. Professors and instructors have complained as well. They say that learning is in jeopardy when students exhibit disruptive behaviors such as text messaging on their phone during class and other behaviors listed above. Today we'll be using the PMOPS format to make a recommendation and do some problem solving. Okay. So, step 1 is to describe the problems and analyze them. Okay, so first I guess we could talk about noise during class.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the complaints including noise from talking during class. Does it say in here who are these complaints from?
Probably students.
Students and teachers, I would say.
Yeah.
I know this is like a question that won't be answered, but like that might be specific to a certain field or something. Like, you know, your freshman year, you have big lectures with 200, 300 kids.
Right.
And then, you know, your senior year, you have a classroom of 30 kids, and it's not as big of a deal. So,
Yeah, I think
it's just something to think about.
I definitely think the biggest problem is with, like, the younger classes. Maybe it's just because, like, kids are right out of high school and, like, not as mature yet.
And bigger classes. So.
Yeah, bigger classes and, like
some of the kids already know the information, so they feel like they don't have to be there.
Oh, that's true, too, yeah.
And I feel like there's such a big class, so like, oh, if I'm one person, talking is not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
But then everyone does.
And then there's those kids who try really, 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 really hard and then just clearly complain.
Yeah. I think, like, the problem is with those big classes, like, the large lecture rooms, they, like, you know how they're, like, designed. I don't know, Mark, you probably know about this because you're architecture, but, like, the acoustics and the way that they're designed just, like, make all the, like, little whispers, like, really carry. So I think that's a problem. But, I don't know, in some of my classes, like, freshman year and sophomore year, we had TAs, like, I guess most big classes have TAs, like, sitting in on them, but the TAs would, like, walk around and, like, go up to students who weren't paying attention or who were, like, distracting others by talking.
Mm-hmm. I know, just, like, the thing that comes to mind, I had physics in Osmond. Have you been in those lecture halls?
119.
Yes, they're huge and it goes down.
Yeah.
Like, those get noisy, but it's 10 times worse for the professor because everyone's facing you and we don't realize that. So, I mean, that's just difficult for them.
I feel like a lot of the TAs don't really say much to the students. Like, unless there's, like, a big problem or they're really distracting, they don't really enforce any rules or anything like that. So
Yeah, I think it's, like, a big problem when there's, like, big groups of friends all sit all together. There's, like, 10 people who are all friends and they all just talk the entire time. I know that was, like, really hard in my finance class. Like, there was just, like, a whole fraternity behind me, and I was like, like, I literally couldn't hear the whole time just because they were so annoying.
Even if I have friends in the class, I usually just sit by myself.
Really? Yeah.
Good for you.
I know I'll not pay attention.
Yeah.
So essentially, a solution could be assigning seats.
Yeah,
As stupid as people, you know, find that might be effective.
In a large lecture hall?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be harder and, like...
So, like, the difficulty would be...
So I feel like talking's not as... It's not much of a problem in small classes.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, but you can quiet it down fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's, like, I don't know, a problem in some of my smaller classes. One of our SED students in our CAS classes, in a lot of classes with me, who often speaks out. You know, I think you can tell who I'm talking about. But, like, he sits next to me in tax class, and it's, like, a room of, like, there's, 45 of us or so? But, like, we sit in the front row, and he sits, like, between, like, it's, like, me, him, and then, like, the teacher's, like, over on this side. And, like, he always talks to this other kid just about, like, stupid stuff, like, football, or, like, oh, the Steelers suck, like, I hate the Steelers, like, okay, stuff that. But, it, like, literally, like, puts up a barrier between, like, I cannot hear, like, my teacher because he is, like, making a wall of noise, like, right next to me. And my teacher's, like, I think she's, like, too afraid to, like, step up and say something. Like, she'll, like, tell other students to quiet down, but, like, when it comes to him, like, I feel like she's, like, intimidated or something.
I mean, even if
you, like, annoying.
Split up friends by assigning seats, they're just gonna make friends with whoever's sitting next to them.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, and
a lot of the people, like, in major classes, you know everyone in your major. Not everyone, but you know a lot of people.
Something that reminded me of is also, I guess, how the professor kind of, like, embraces the situation. So, like, some professors might just get really frustrated that people are talking, but, like, in one of the physics classes, the guy would make everyone talk to the people around you, and, you know, they'd have, like, clicker questions and stuff like that, and so you'd, like, be forced to talk to people, which can be helpful if you're thinking about it. But at the same time, people always tend to just get sidetracked and be like, I don't know, what are you doing today, sort of thing.
It gives them a chance to talk, though, so maybe they won't during class.
Yeah.
I feel like it's also, like, worse in the afternoon classes. Like, morning lectures seem to be fine because at 8 a.m., like, nobody wants to talk to each other. Like, it's, like, stay away from me. But then, like, the 2:30 classes, especially, like, on Thursdays and Fridays, like, I feel are awful. Like, I feel like just because people go out Thursday nights and stuff, like, they always have, like, stories to tell and, like, you know, I don't know. Like, those are definitely the worst times. Like, later classes in the afternoon.
So like the two solutions are assigned seats, which we talked about. I think the allowing time to talk, like, during class about the material is a good way to, I mean, even though it might not be completely productive, it'll hopefully eliminate some more chatter during the actual lecture time. And then my head, after you said about the room in general, would think just, like, move classrooms or design classrooms a little better, because in Osmond we did a study that there's, like, a bunch of acoustic panels on the side to eliminate noise. Those don't do crap. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're just there for show. So you could.
That place gets really noisy.
If you cared that much, you could have somebody come in and, like, consider how you could redesign a room. But that's kind of extreme, and that's more money. So I don't know how plausible of a solution that would be.
But maybe in, like, the older buildings, like, Osmond is, like, an older building, so they could update rooms and stuff. Maybe. I don't know.
Do those acoustic things usually work? Like, or are they all?
Yeah, they can be really effective if they're, like, usually acoustic ceiling tile works. Those are just, like, panels on the side, but I mean, it depends how you use them, pretty much.
I feel like
it's not my specialty.
Like, what do they have in the forum? Do you know? Because, like, a lot of professors don't even use a microphone in forum. Like, they can just talk, and, like, their voice carries. So
I know there's, like, two kind of acoustic panels. There's, like, the ones that reflect and the ones that absorb. So, like, maybe we could put, I don't know, design a new way, I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to know if you're not in that major. So.
Wait, in, like, studios, like, where people record music, those, they put foam on the walls and stuff so that absorbs it.
okay.
Do we want to decide on the best solution for this before we go on to the other three, or the other two topics, cell phones and?
I think the whole allowing time, like, because then, like,
I think that's the
out.
easiest.
More feasible.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, if you do move seats, it'll work for a while, but then they'll just make friends and talk to You can't make everyone not sit by someone they know.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think that's a good idea, but it's just hard to maintain that. Like, how are you really gonna check if people are in the right seats? Like, especially if you have a class of 300 kids. Like, how do you make sure?
I didn't think of.
Like, how do you
move?
Yeah.
That could work. It works in smaller classes, but not a bigger class.
What the assigned seats? Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, maybe some TAs could take a section, but then again, TAs don't always go to the class. So.
Yeah.
Did you say the second one? Were you referring to that or assigned seats? Oh.
No, I was referring to allowing time to saying, okay, discuss this, and then they're gonna get off topic, but it allows them to get out whatever they wanted to say.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like professors just need to stand up more and
that too.
Tell people to quiet
Shut
down.
up.
I've seen it just a few times. Professors will call people out in class and literally go up to them and be like, you need to stop talking, or you can get out. But it doesn't happen enough, I don't think.
I mean, even if I was a TA and if you set the TAs sporadically throughout the room, I probably wouldn't say I'm not.
Quiet down.
I'm bad. I'm on R&R. I'm not gonna yell at anybody.
Yeah.
And just I feel like it's just easy if a lot of professors will just stand at the front of the classroom and not move around much. So the kids up in the front will be quiet because the professors are in front of them. But if the professor weaves in and out through the aisles and engages more with the people who are sitting towards the back, they'll probably, I don't know, pay better attention, and obviously they're not going to be talking while the professor's 3 feet in front of their face.
Yeah, and for they would walk up and down the stairs.
Yeah, I like when they do that. But do we make a decision?
Or
should we wait on it?
Talk about the other thing.
Yeah, we could move on.
Okay.
So the next one is cell phones ringing during class. Just I don't know, picking that part of the problem apart. I don't know if you have your ringer on, that's just stupid. But
yeah, I feel like we should just talk about just cell phone use in general and laptops and the whole technology, because people aren't just using cell phones.
I agree.
That's not even the biggest problem. Well, it is a problem, but
because I know one thing is just using tablets and laptops during class. More than half the time they're not using it for class.
Right.
The laptop is just a guide or a protection barrier from the professor to see what you're actually doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they a lot of them just put their PowerPoints completely up on the screen, so then you don't want to pay attention.
Yeah.
But my one class, it was Soc 23. She had PowerPoints, but she said so many other things. You had to take tons of notes. I was just constantly typing. So, I had my laptop, but if you force the students to take notes because they know they're really going to need them, and you can't get the information anywhere else, then that helps.
Yeah, I feel like more teachers should do that, because a lot of mine just put up the PowerPoint. I mean, usually I have it pulled up on my laptop, but then I'm also have other tabs open too, checking work for other classes, and I have the iMessage thing on my phone, so I'm usually chatting back and forth with people sometimes too. I don't know. I feel like it takes self-control. You have to have the willpower to close out all your internet tabs and just have the PowerPoint open and fully maximize, so it's the only thing that's on your screen.
Yeah.
But and then when you're sitting behind people in class, you can see what they're doing, and you get distracted by their screen. You're oh.
It's what are you playing?
Either they're playing games or looking at pictures on Facebook.
Yeah.
Doing,
I know.
Internet searches.
Just this morning, my friend was playing a game on his phone, and he told me to play him back. It's a trivia game, and
true or false?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Great. I was yeah, and then I realized, we just kept playing for 10 minutes, then I realized the professor's talking about, something that's on the final, and he's play again. I'm no, I'm done for it now. And I paid attention, and I took notes, and so it is a lot of self-control, and, how much do you really want to pay attention, because I feel like kids don't realize that it does affect your knowledge and grade. You know what I mean?
I was reading an art. Oh, go ahead.
I feel like it's easier to like when you're engaged in the class to like not to like pay attention and not get distracted.
Yeah.
But when like the professor's just up there talking and it's very monotone, you just like, all right, well.
Especially when they just go through PowerPoint and they just read everything off of it. Yeah. But I was reading an article and it was saying that students are like just our age, we think we can multitask, like texting and driving. Kids think they can text while they drive, or being on your phone in class. You think that, oh, I can be on it and still pay attention. But yeah, the one quote was something about students who use their mobile phones in class. They write down less information, recall less information, and perform worse on multiple choice tests than those who don't.
I agree with that.
What is that?
It's gonna log out.
What?
More time.
Oh, just like do something on it.
No, I just need to click more time.
But yeah, it's because we didn't touch it for a while.
Alright.
I guess we have to wiggle the mouse every once in a while.
Is it recording still?
Yeah, it's recording.
Oh, okay.
We could see the time. Okay.
Just a solution I have, which most likely does not apply to college, because we're all responsible for going to our own classes, but like smaller ages, just cell phones in general. The first observation is kids are way too young to have cell phones now. Like my cousins had a cell phone when they were like 12.
Yeah.
And it's
Most
like, why? What? Like, I didn't get mine until 16, but.
No, I got mine in 8th. My mom was like, if you make the basketball team, you can.
But like in younger classrooms where it's like everyone's confined to a building, so like middle school and whatever, I thought a solution would be collecting the cell phones like at the beginning, like.
Because they don't really have, like if you're in college, you might have an emergency or something. Like you can't take their phones away. And
well that's what I mean.
Adults.
Yeah.
But yeah, kids, they don't need them. Like we had a rule: if you had your cell phone out, the teacher would take it.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to have them on definitely not in middle school. They had to be in our backpacks, turned off in our lockers or something like that.
I mean, in high school, I think when I was a junior, they made a policy like, no, you can't have your phone in class, but when in between classes, walking in the hallway, you're allowed to have it. So then, if you needed, you could deal without your phone for 40 minutes.
Yeah, but like some of my classes, they had like a no technology policy just because like of the. I don't know, I guess you could. Sorry, let me start over. Like they would, if they saw a cell phone, like they would come up to you and like make you put it away. But then like you also couldn't use laptops in class because like you can use iMessage on your phone and like you can be on Facebook and stuff like that. Like,
you mean in high school?
No, college. And like one of my lectures, like you couldn't have any technology out in general. Like everything was handwritten. I mean, I think that's a good policy, but it also just wastes a lot of paper. Like when you have to like print out a slide packet for every single class. And like that gets inconvenient after a while just because it's like more stuff to organize like physically. Like it's just easier to have stuff on a folder on your computer, but I think it's effective.
My one
maybe
teacher
not feasible,
but she didn't like enforce it. Now everyone still uses theirs because she just puts a PowerPoint thing up and talks the whole time. But she said no technology, but people still use their laptops, and she was just like, okay. If you have your PowerPoint up.
Yeah, it's almost like some professors just kind of conform to it. Mm-hmm. I know I had a midterm like a month ago, and this kid was like, I take all my notes on my tablet. And he's like, can I use my tablet? Because it's an open note exam. And he just sort of thought about it, and he was like, well, let's see if you have any objections from your classmates, because essentially he could just go online and look up anything he wanted. And it was kind of just like an honor system. We were all just like, it's open notes. You should know how to do it. You know, if you don't, and you're just going to waste more time looking it up online. So we were all just like, we don't care. So he got to use his laptop / tablet thing.
Was anyone sitting next to him and saw if he was looking stuff up?
Someone, I don't know. He was in the back of the room, so I don't know.
I feel like it could be like obvious if somebody like open notes, you would just be like scrolling up and down like through your notes. But if you're like actually like typing. Searching, like like clicking on different links, like typing new things in, like that might be obvious. But you have to keep like a close eye on it. I don't know.
So maybe a solution for that would just be, Penn State in general, just say there's absolutely no laptops or tablets allowed on exams, because exams are more like proctored and stuff.
He should have just printed out the notes.
That's So like if that was a policy or something, all the professors would know that at the beginning of the semester, and the students would too. So then they would know that you could take your notes on your stuff, but you'd have to print it all out before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like that would be like a professor by professor, like different standard for every class, but like definitely stated somewhere in the syllabus or something, so everybody knows the policy ahead of time, so they can plan accordingly.
Mm-hmm. And then you can be held accountable if you don't.
Yeah. But it's like I don't know. Some of my teachers like hate the laptops in class, but like some of them like really encourage it too. So it's.
I mean, in that Soj class that I was talking about, if I didn't have my laptop, there's no way I could have. I still missed some notes. She was Indian, so we could hardly understand her, and she talked really fast and just gave all these statistics that we needed to write down in all of our essays. And yeah, if I didn't have my laptop, I could have never written that fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I wonder if like teachers could like turn off like internet access during like
that was one thing.
I know there was like a high school in my area that had like a cell phone jammer.
Yeah, I found an article on that.
Like, what does that do?
It just like jams all signals and everything. They did have Wi-Fi, but at the time you couldn't really do anything with it.
Yeah, like we had Wi-Fi, but it blocked everything.
Yeah.
Like it even blocked apps.
So that would definitely be effective, but at the same time,
for high school, I think it's more effective.
What if there's like
for like high school, middle school?
What if there's like a medical emergency in your family?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what does it stop calls too?
Yeah, it's like stops everything. So I feel like you could use it in high school, because if there was an emergency like that, the parent would call the school.
Yeah.
But in college, you can't jam their cell phones. But there's another one. It's kind of like letting the kids talk for a little bit. The one teacher, he let the students use their cell phones for every 1 minute for 1 minute every 15 minutes. So like after 15 minutes, like he'd be like, okay, you can check your messages, do whatever.
That's interesting.
I feel like that's just
not
like
a lot, but
that just like makes us look like pathetic. That we
like
can't go we can't go 14 minutes without looking at our cell phone. Like I feel like that's just that's just like bad in our society.
But everyone, like I just noticed myself. I get my cell phone on the bus and I'm like, I don't need this. I just put it away. Cause I'm like, I don't want to be the person sitting on the bus always on my phone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know I found a solution. It was basically just like join them instead of beating them. So like they encourage cell phone use in class to like look up things and do different things like that. So I mean, if a student got sidetracked, like big deal. Like they send a text message, but at least they're like, it's not distracting everybody else.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, maybe that would work in some instances, but not.
Because people wouldn't look up what they really are supposed to.
Yeah. And then the other time that they don't have to be looking something up, they're just checking their social media and whatnot. Because the professor wouldn't even know if they're looking things up or if they're doing other things.
Yeah.
There was one who said, teachers did this sometimes. It's kind of too hard to do now, but if they see you with your phone, they like say like, read your conversation, or they'll come and read your conversation.
Yeah. I don't know, I think we just need to have like more willpower just to put it in your backpack or your pocket for 50 minutes. And then like if you obviously have an emergency, like check it, but be responsible about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't need to be texting all your friends when you're gonna see them soon enough anyways.
One article said something about just put something in the syllabus about it, because it's basically a legal document. So you could say like, if I see you with your cell phone out, you have to like leave class and then you miss all the notes, or I don't know, something about like if you have your cell phone out, you miss. Can't say like you miss points. Like it's a little extreme, but still something.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny how some professors like say they don't really care, like if you're using your cell phone, they're like, whatever, like you can even have your headphones in, like it's just like you're not getting anything out of you or out of my class, like. But if I was like up in front of a class and I saw like everybody just like had their heads down, like I would be so angry. I'd be like, well, why don't you want to listen to me? Like that's just
it's just disrespectful to the teacher and other students.
Yeah.
Like that girl in class, even though I wasn't on my phone, just watching her like take Snapchats and look at, like I was distracted by like looking at what she was doing because I was angry that she was on her phone.
Yeah.
And there's some teachers who are just like okay with it. Not okay with it, but they're just like, okay, whatever, I'll just keep teaching my class. And then they come off a little more boring and monotone, and then the class is just overall less like personal, so it's definitely a problem.
I think if they made a point like early in the semester, like you know how they say like, all right, no texting during class, but then when somebody is texting during class, like make a point out of that student, just be like, all right, stop texting. Yeah. And that'll kind of give a hint for everybody else to.
Because getting called out in a class of
like
300. Yeah.
My computer teacher.
Everybody else doesn't want to get embarrassed.
To you?
So.
No. Some kid, he was just sitting on it. Like she said it in the beginning of the year and was really adamant on it. But he had his phone out and she just stopped talking. He stared at him and he was still on his phone. He didn't notice.
That's so
and then
funny.
she finally walked up to him and yelled at him. And I was like,
I think it's just distracting, like, even if you don't, like, want to be on your cell phone, but then you see, like, everybody else, you just have, like, more of an urge to pull yours out, too, and, like, because you see everybody else doing it, so you're like, oh, I can do it, too. I don't know, just, it's like a chain effect, I feel like.
So the solutions that I kind of just wrote down, collect phones at the beginning, I said that, a Wi-Fi or data jam or whatever, I think that would be effective. Allowing certain time to use technology, which I think we said was kind of stupid, but and then just like documenting a policy pretty much in the syllabus or like making it official that you could be punished or embarrassed or something like that.
I have the same ones, but I also have like the join them instead of beating them, but the bad part about that was
beating them.
Fighting, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Beat them.
But the bad thing was even if you say like look up this on your phone, they're probably gonna just not do that.
Yeah,
They're not gonna
text or do whatever.
You wanna move on to the third one?
What do you think the best solution out of those?
Oh, and we had about banning all technology in the classroom because we talked about laptops too.
Oh, yeah.
Or just banning laptops and tablets on exams. But I never really, because it's only for open note ones. I've never.
Yeah, I feel like most people don't have open note exams.
Yeah, which is what I said at the beginning. I think it's specific to the class and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and I forgot. I read it was about how students can cheat on exams because of phones.
Yeah, most of my, like, the policy with that is just if teacher sees a cell phone, like, zero.
Zero,
Like, no, not even a question.
You, like, put that in the syllabus. And then,
Most of my professors always, like, remind before, like, the exam. They're like, turn off your cell phone.
Yeah.
If I see it, you get a 0. Like, they're getting that warning right ahead of time. And I feel like people really don't have any excuse. Like, there's always an exam where somebody's phone goes off. And I'm like, really? Like... We're in an exam, like, you knew.
You can just turn the sound off.
I know.
I mean, I know alarms still go off. There are a lot of alarms that go off.
But, like, why... I always, like, turn mine off during an exam just because I'm like, what's the chance that, like, this app is going to make noise or, like,
I agree.
Whatever.
Even just it vibrating whenever it's on silent in a, like, silent room, you can hear that.
It's just... And, like, it's not like you can pull it out during your exam anyway, so, like, why do you need to know if everybody's texting you?
Yeah.
Like, you can't do anything about it anyways until after the exam, so you might as well just shut it off, but... Some people, like, are really opposed to turning their phone off because, I don't know, they just think that's the end of the world. I don't know. Oh, also, I just think that, like, teachers, like you said, like, a lot of people will pull out their phones when, like, the class gets boring or, like, they lose interest. So I just think teachers just should be more engaging in general. Just, like,
I agree.
Keep the class interesting, like, past the first 25 minutes.
Because, like, if you... like think higher or can become more personable with a professor, you're more willing to engage in the class and everything. So part of it is just teachers in general.
I think clickers help because if you have like graded clicker questions, not just participation ones. But yeah, because then you have to pay attention before to make sure you get the
even if they aren't
right.
graded though, I'd like to see like, did I get it right? And then them showing like, here's the class range. Like it makes you realize, oh crap, like I didn't know that I should study more because I'm behind in this class. You know what I mean?
Even if like you put a PowerPoint up, make sure like clicker question is something. Like, don't put much information on the PowerPoint. Make it just a guideline, and then they can type their own notes.
Yeah, I know that was nice in physics.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, you guys suck.
Yeah.
Well,
like, oh, I know nothing.
Not alone.
Yeah, except the participation ones, kids, like in my chem class, it was just chem 001, it was the easiest class. But he put them up, and kids, it was just click it for participation, so people would just click a random answer. Like, they'd click E whenever there was only A through D. I hate the student that does that.
Yeah. Alright, should we move?
Yeah, we can move on.
Okay, now students entering and exiting the classroom late and early.
I like completely agree with this one. Like, it still happens in one of my classes where a kid will just, it was last week, the kid walked in, stood right in front of the professor and was like, oh crap, sorry, and turned around and walked away. And my professor just stops and was like, hello, like,
really?
You know, it's awkward for him, but like, come on, don't enter the room when there's people in there, like,
I mean, it's not even just in early and late, it's like people get up in the middle of class and then they'll come back.
That's the worst. It's just like people that leave like right in the middle, like, that's just rude.
But I was saying, like, sometimes, like, people have to use the restroom, so they leave and come back in the middle of the class.
yeah.
But just those doors are so loud. You just hear the door, and anytime you hear the door, you look. You can't help it.
Yeah.
So maybe quieter doors, like the doors that like generally close. That would help.
Yeah, if you had like quieter doors, and then say like if you come in late, like you need to sit in the back. Like don't try to weave your way to the front.
I feel like people just need to have more like respect and like courtesy for other students and the professor. Like if you know you're coming in late, like you know what time it is. Like just sit in the back, find a seat in the back, and then like if you have to leave early, sit by the door so you can sit on the end by the door and just like get up and leave quietly. But some people will sit in the middle and then they have to like pack up their bags and put on their coat and like climb over 10 people. Like that's just noisy.
Oh yeah, if you know you're leaving, why sit in the middle of the room?
Yeah, just like sit in the back or don't even come. I don't know. Don't come.
I know in my one math class we have a quiz every Friday at the beginning of class. And once they hand in the quiz, everybody just like gets up and leaves, and there's like 12 people in a 40-person class, and they're still in there. The professor's like, well, they're not gonna pass, so.
I feel like if you're the professor giving that quiz, like give it at the end of class, so like people are forced to like stay.
I mean, he's like, this is his first year here, so he's kind of like, doesn't really know what's going on yet.
I feel like that's just like common sense, though. Like, how hard is that to figure out?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or like the teachers that do a clicker question at the very beginning of class, like, oh, get your clicker point in the first like 2 minutes of class. Then like you get your clicker point and then you just leave. Like, most classes don't do that, but like I've seen some that do. I'm like, really, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
As far as like people coming in late, I thought, because I live off campus and ride a bus, I understand that I mean, traffic is something you can't change.
Yeah.
So even if I'm up really, really early, catch the bus on time and get there, I could still potentially be late. So a possible solution to that would be increase the time in between classes. You know how there's 15-minute breaks, even just like 5 minutes, like 20-minute breaks.
Yeah, 15 minutes.
Because I mean, this is a huge campus too. So somebody who has to walk from Rec Hall all the way over to Thomas or whatever.
Yeah, it's like you can't get everywhere in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
So.
Even if you want to take the buses are so crowded, and then if you are on a bus,
the buses are slower, honestly.
They're slower.
Oh yeah.
Not in between, not like during the classes. Like if I ever have to take the bus, I leave like a half an hour early because, if you take the bus during class, then there's all the people crossing the street, and that's why it takes forever for them to get around.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like people just need to be more generally respectful of other people in learning.
I agree.
I think that'll also pose like some problems. So like some students would still be late because let's say
4 minutes, right?
you want to go get lunch or whatever. It's like, I don't know. You have more time in between.
Yeah. I don't know.
I know something that, so we have like computer labs, and there are classes in them at some points during the day, and then when there aren't classes, kids can use the computers just as, a normal computer lab. And something that they do is they update schedules every day and put that on the doors. That might be just a general effective way for all classes. Like, there's a class in here now, read the schedule on the door before you enter the door. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And disturb, which could be a potential exam or quiz or whatever. So I just thought of that.
Yeah, I feel like some classrooms do have that printed out schedule, like Mondays, like these other times, but like they're not always up to date.
Exactly,
like,
and that's like a problem with it is you'd have to have somebody change all these schedules out at like 7 in the morning every single day, which would be difficult.
And things get changed like last minute. Like you can't. I don't know if you can account for all the like switches that get made and like.
Just put like a little TV screen outside there.
Yeah,
a TV
technology.
Like a little tablet. Update it that way.
You want to donate yours to that?
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, it's not something you can really do too much about, like, each individual person, like.
Because you always see in, like, classic movies, the person's running to class and the teacher locks the door right on time and they can't get in.
Lock the door.
Yeah, but you can't lock the door. Like, what if someone has you'd have to email the teacher and be like, I'm coming late because I haven't talked. I don't know. So I don't think you can lock the door, but you always see that in movies.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, it's just like a thing in America. Like, people are always late. Like, it's not, like, we're not we're pretty prompt, but, like, there's always people late to meetings or late to work or something like that. Just, I think our society could have a more timely, be on time motto or mentality. But there's always like contingencies you can't account for or predict, so
I kind of like the making the doors quieter, but then you still have the distraction of people getting up and down in the middle of class and packing up. But I mean, if you make the doors quieter and then or like silent, and then you if you have them leave, just say like if you leave early or if you come in late, sit in the back, so there's less of a distraction.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to eliminate people coming. You just have to try to make the best of it.
Also, classrooms with doors in the back of the room is less distracting than doors in the front of the room.
Sometimes
some rooms have both, but again, like classroom design.
Yeah,
like
I would always go that back door.
Doors in the back of the room that's nice. Like even if there is a door, if there's 2 doors, you could somehow lock the front one.
Also, we said increase the time in between classes, which I do think would help a lot, at least for people getting there maybe more on time.
Yeah.
Not even just by 5 minutes, like make it 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20-minute break. Yeah. I mean, the only thing against that was that would like push our days back, I think, more than we would think, because they can't really reduce class time anymore. 50 minutes is,
And students would still be late too. They'd be like, 5 extra minutes, let me stop and get some coffee.
Yeah, that too.
I feel just like if you're one of the students that has class way up, I don't know, northeast, and then you have to go all the way southwest, like, you could just, like, email your teacher at the beginning of the semester and say, hey, like, listen, this is how far I have to get in 15 minutes. Like, I'm going to be 5 minutes late every day. So, like, please excuse my, like, lateness for the rest of the semester. Like, that would just be a general, like, thing that people could do just so the teacher knows that they're not, like, late on purpose or they just suck. Like, there's a reason why they're late.
We are basically done. Should we see if we can pick which solution we want? Yeah, we're at 39 for each one, or
yeah, let's
have to do that.
I guess we could pick just
which one we think would
like the most effective.
Well, going back to the first one, noise from just talking in classes. I personally like the one where it's like have a more collaborative class and allow times for kids to talk about.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. And then no cell phones. I mean, you can't ban technology; they're still going to use it.
Yeah.
But maybe you can just give like a misconduct, like
I think the putting something in the syllabus about it, but like if I see your phone,
like,
or
like a warning and then a
implementing that more would be effective. Yes, I agree.
But definitely each professor, like depending on like the size of the class, what class it is, like have a different policy for each, like which would work the best for your type of
depends
class.
on your class and how the professor is. But yeah, just make sure there's a consequence for it and actually
follow through
with the consequence.
Yeah.
And then
that would be
entering and exiting.
Like a combination of some of them, like definitely the doors in the back of the classroom help. So then students would always sit in the back. I do think quieter doors, because that's the most problem with me. Like the only time I'm distracted, it's not really by people walking around. It's when I hear the door. I just always look.
And there are people that like need to leave early, and those people can be like quiet and polite, and then that way they could just sneak out. You know what I mean? So that would, I think that's a more effective solution.
Yeah, the professor could just make like a general note, like in the beginning of the semester, like, hey, if you want to leave early, like just make sure you sit towards the back and like sit on the end, so you're not climbing over people and disrupting people.
Cool.
Just like
it's all based on politeness.
Yeah,
courtesy. It's like you just have to show respect.
Well, we are over time a little, so.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye, Miss K.
Bye, Miss K.